Hi, I'm here with Casey Matthews, Chief Investment Officer with UMB Bank. Casey, great to see you, and wonderful performance earlier. I was wondering what your, in a nutshell, your forecast is for the economy. I know a broad question, but can you maybe distill in a nutshell what you just told this audience here?
Sure. Well, great to see you. I do think that the economy has momentum that'll take us into 2017 and perhaps trickle into 2018. When you look at 2016, it was kind of a tale of two stories. You had the first half, which was somewhat anemic. The second half, you had economic growth. That'll trickle into 2017. And then you think about the potential pro-growth initiatives that we may see from our new president. I think you can get to something like 2.5% real GDP growth here in the United States in 2017.
Yeah. Now, the theme of your presentation was, will the rational bubble become irrational? And I think some people might think of rational bubble as kind of an oxymoron, like, is there such a thing as a rational bubble? But you kind of explained that indeed there is. Could you maybe elaborate on why there could be a bubble that we're in right now, and yet it's rational?
Sure. We like to have fun with economics because it's economics, so we create these themes. The rational bubble this year, which we think is descriptive of what we might see in 2017. So there could be financial bubbles throughout the economy and the marketplace. Just really asset classes that have an unsustainable increase in price. And that could be the stock market, but I think the stock market is fairly valued at 17.5 times forward earnings. So could there be a bubble developing in the stock market? Could be, but it's rational and far from that bursting or popping phase. The one area that we think is irrational is really interest rates. When you look at interest rates and what quantitative easing has done to rates, it drove rates down to virtually zero for 6 years. And yet our economy, since the Great Recession, has grown at an average of about 2.1%, again using real GDP as a barometer. You shouldn't have interest rates so low with an economy growing at 2%. So that's where I think you're going to see interest rates rise. I don't think it'll pop. I think our central bankers will figure out a way to manage the glide path higher and maybe deflate the bubble without having that bubble pop.
Yeah, now one thing you mentioned as far as bubbles go, hopefully still a rational bubble here in Colorado, and specifically Denver, could be housing. Could you elaborate on, why you think that might be a bubble brewing?
Sure. On a national level, I don't think you're going to see a housing bubble because we're still 5 or 10% below the prices you saw prior to the Great Recession. But in Denver, you see housing prices growing at 10%, twice the national average rate. Why? I think is because of the migration of people. You have a vibrant economy, you have great jobs that are available, tight labor market, great climate, and you have a great migration of people into the state, into the city of Denver. So because of that, you have a supply and demand problem. So I think housing prices have escalated much faster than the national average here in Denver, but I don't think it'll pop because of those other issues. You still have the migration. I think again, over time, it might dissipate before it pops.
Now, one thing you mentioned as a possible black swan, or no, actually it was brought up by someone as a possible black swan, I think, was the Trump administration and how that's going to play out over the course of the next year or two. And you had said he probably has about 2 years to prove himself.
Right. Well, you have the midterm elections, so you need results before the midterm elections. But there are definitely risks with his plan. We don't know exactly what his plan is on trade. So we need global trade. Global trade is positive for job growth, creativity, ingenuity, and things along that line. Protectionism is bad. Building walls, whether literally or metaphorically, typically are bad. So that is a wild card. What will happen with trade? Nobody really knows, but you would hope at the end of the day cooler heads would prevail and everyone would support fair trade agreements for both sides, and then life goes on. The other wild card would be immigration. We need immigration to support our labor force growth rate here in the United States. You cannot close our borders. So we'll just see what he does with it. But those could hamper economic growth if there's some type of misstep.
Right. Now, one potential positive could be his view on regulation, on maybe relaxing some of the regulation imposed in the Obama administration. What impact do you think that could have on the 2017 economy?
I think that'll be very positive and support not only corporate earnings, but also economic growth. So you've had this great growth of regulation over the past 8 years. President Trump has stated he would like to reduce regulation by 75%. So if you just would get a stabilization of regulation, no more growth, I think it'll be positive for corporate earnings in the economy. What if he gets to 75%, fantastic. What if he just reduces regulation by 10%? That'll be positive for heavy regulated sectors such as finance, healthcare, energy, all positive for corporate earnings and economic growth at the same time.
I think your conclusion was that you're cautiously optimistic about 2017.
Correct. Again, you have momentum in the economy. Last year we grew at 1.6% real GDP. This year I think we'll be closer to 2.5. That'll feel good. It'll feel good for business. It'll feel good for the consumer. It'd be good for financial assets, risk-based assets, stock market. So I think it's going to be a good year. No doubt, like every year, you have some bumps in the road. You have ebbs and flows in financial markets. But at the end of the day, business conditions have improved dramatically from the beginning of 2016. Not only locally, but also on a global scale. So I think it'll be a feel-good year for 2017, and it could trickle into 2018 as well.
Now, I might be getting too granular here, but getting back to Colorado, did the legalization of marijuana factor at all into your view of what's in store for the state economically?
Not so much. I think you have so many other positive factors. The vibrant economy, highly educated workforce, very low unemployment rate, substantially lower than the national average, that is going to bring people to your state, to your city, and I'm not sure the impact that marijuana might have. But I think you almost don't need it. You have so much positive momentum in the city and the state.